Hello guys, welcome to my channel. Today we'll be talking about the Aquarius woman. Now Aquarius is ruled by Saturn and Uranus. Saturn is the traditional ruler. Uranus is like the new ruler, after astrologers observed, some of the things about Aquarius, in that they love being unique. They like going off the beaten track. They're visionaries. They like seeing the future. And those are very Uranian elements, as well as the Saturn aspect in terms of Aquarius is that they love sticking to things. They also love systems. So, but then the thing is, they won't just follow any system. It has to make sense to them. And there has to be some element maybe of uniqueness or something different about it. But then Saturn is also very strong in Aquarian women. Which one will be stronger than the other, whether it's Saturn or Uranus, will entirely depend on the woman, because if everyone's birth chart, there are varying strengths. Maybe Saturn will be stronger because of certain aspects it's making, or it will be Uranus. So depending on that, maybe the Aquarian will be more about being unique, going off the beaten track, being mavericks. If it's the Saturn, they'll be more about finding systems of thought that they feel affiliated to and sticking to them, and making maybe living their life really according to those systems of thoughts and ideologies that they have come up with, or they have found from someone else, which makes sense to them. Aquarian people, they usually are focused on humankind, on what developments or what things can be done to further enhance the development of humankind, whether it's humanitarian causes, whether it's things like science. So you find a lot of Aquarian women, they really love science. Some even become scientists, because in science the Aquarians are looking for something that makes sense, and with science it's like a system of thought and there's a process to it. It's not like something you're just believing or something someone is telling you to believe. It makes sense. There are steps to how the discoveries are made and things like that. Of course, right now there is a thing of there's some kinds of science which is published and it's not correct. Maybe someone paid for the research. It happens nowadays. Okay, that's a different story. But we are talking about the good side of science, where actually things make sense, legit discoveries are made. You understand what I mean? So those are the kinds of things an Aquarius woman would love, especially because science can be used for the advancement of humankind, whether it's finding cures, whether it's creating machines or technologies that can help the human race. And that's what they're into. The Aquarius woman is very oriented to group identity. As I told you, the way they're visionaries, they really like seeing themselves as a part of the group, not being submerged by it, but they really love affiliation with groups. They like meeting new people, they like making new friends, because the other thing about Aquarians, they're air signs, so they like mental stimulation. So when they meet new people, it's like they're discovering how they think, they're discovering what they do. It's just a new experience for them. And that's the thing with Aquarians. Like, if you meet them, don't let them know you completely at first, because they'll get bored with you. And this might be very difficult to do, because Aquarian women, they will ask you questions and questions, trying to understand you while giving very little about themselves. But the key thing, don't tell them. If you tell them everything, they'll get bored with you. And the thing is, they might do this with a lot of people. So you might really think you're a close friend to them. But Aquarians, because of the air sign part of them, they're very detached. So they can just have many friends, or a lot of acquaintances, but not be very emotionally. It's hard for them to emotionally attach to people, or to get into really deep relationships, whether it's friendships or romantic relationships, because they're generally very detached. They're mainly in their headspace, and emotions for them, many of them distrust emotions. They just distrust them. It's not natural. They don't naturally go there. If they're hurt about something, they mentally analyze it and they deal with it from a mental perspective. And because of the Uranus aspect of them, they want to break something off that hurts them and move on. And that can happen with relationships. If you hurt them and they feel like they've not been disrespected, if they've not been respected, or you've hurt their pride, they mentally analyze it and they're like, no, this is not worth my time, and they move on. Unless the Aquarian in question has a lot of water signs, they're generally like this, because water signs can make you want more deeper connections. And some Aquarians have water signs, a strong element of water, whether it's Cancer or it's but then the thing is, even when they have a strong element of water signs, as much as they can get in touch with their emotions and understand them better than Aquarians who don't have a lot of water signs, the thing is, there'll still be that desire to detach from emotion. They might be able to understand it, but it's a high incidence for Aquarians to just be like, no, put the emotions aside, get on. And they might live like this until later something brings them back to the emotion, but they're generally like that. They like to just detach, and maybe it's from an upbringing where the people who brought them up did not honor their emotions. Maybe the people who brought them up were also detached as well, and yeah, the mental aspect of them was honored more than the emotional and part of them. So that's how they are generally. Aquarian women are generally oriented either against a group identity or towards a group identity. Let me explain. You see, for my necklace was on the other way around. Okay, you see, for Aquarians, the ideology of the group has to make sense in their head. If it does not make sense, they cannot be affiliated with that group. That's just how they are. So you'll find two types of Aquarians: the ones who love having a wide array of friends and being in groups a lot, and the ones who are completely antisocial and they're like, no, they don't want to be around groups. They think they're superficial, and this is because maybe if the Aquarians were around groups which did not go, they did not agree with those ideologies, and maybe they felt compelled to be in those groups. Maybe if they were growing up, when I say groups, the first group we meet is maybe the extended family. We meet classmates in school. That's a group. So depending on their experience, maybe in their early life, it might show you whether they will be affiliated to groups or not. But it depends on the Aquarians. Some Aquarians are just like, they experience a group which try to force them to think a certain way, and they're like, I don't want these experiences, I don't want to be in groups. They decide to be on their own because they don't want to be forced to be anything, to think a certain way. And that's the Uranus aspect of an Aquarian, for instance. They just break it off. They become detached, break off from groups. I don't want anything to do with groups. Then there's the other one, the other Aquarians who maybe they found their ideologies accepted by the groups they were in when they were young, or they easily accepted the ideologies that the groups that around them had at the time, and they naturally just enjoyed it because maybe that's what they made sense to them, and they were able to express who they are through those groups. Then there are those ones who, if they don't find a certain affiliation with the groups around them, they just keep searching for groups which make sense to them, and they can do this online, or they can do this in real life, where they keep moving from group to group till they find one that really suits their ideology. Or there are others who are very good at creating a group, or creating something with many people where they make these people follow their ideologies. Like they create their own ideologies, and people start following them and start having a following. And this is not always positive. This could be a cult leader, it could be a social media personality, this could be a president. So and that's the thing, their ideologies are not always right, but their ideologies make sense to them with their own system of thought. you know. And some Aquarians know how to create a following with their own ideologies, even if these ideologies are harmful. And others know how to create a following with good ideologies that actually further the progress of humankind. But the thing is, some, even when they're creating bad ideologies, think they are actually creating progress, and they think they're being a visionary. You might even find Aquarians who hold so-called traditional concepts, because in their head they might be thinking, you know what, human beings have kind of regressed, the traditional methods would probably work. The thing with them, it's not like they always go with what is being seen as visionary by other people. They go with what is visionary to them. So they might be holding these traditional attributes in their head, and they make sense, and they feel these are the things that are gonna help further humankind, you know what I mean? And they stick to it, and they, you know, because they are a fixed sign. This is fixed air. So whatever ideologies and their ways of systems of thoughts that they have, they stick to them like glue for a long time. And this is another part where their stubbornness comes through. They are convinced of what they think and what they know, and this can make them not open to what other people are saying or other people are thinking, because they're convinced of the rightness of their thoughts, and it takes a long time for them to really change. And this is not the other thing. As much as they are ruled by Uranus, they are individuals. That's the thing. Wherever they think, there's a strong element of individuality to it, and they're strong. It's also unique. It's a unique way of seeing things, and it's a very individual way of seeing things. But they change. For them to change, it takes really long. You know, it takes very, very, very long. Another aspect, you know, when I say they can either be affiliated to groups or against it, the systems of thought that they have, you might find Aquarians who are so like loyal. The other aspect of Aquarians is loyalty. Their fixed nature helps them with the loyalty, especially because if an ideology they become very loyal to a certain ideology, and this could even happen with fashion and the brands that they choose. You find they'll stick to a certain brand because of what it means to them. The thought like, you know, the brand, the thought concept of the brand and what it represents, that means a lot to them, and so they will stick to it. Or you'll find Aquarians who do not like brands at all because they find them superficial. They're like, no, I mean, I'm my own person. So you might find those Aquarians who will be like, or even if they don't like brands, or if they like a certain brand, they don't necessarily want it to put the name of the brand put in the clothes that they have, or the whatever it is. They don't want that name there. Maybe it could be in the tag, but not like outright, because they don't want to feel defined by that. They don't want to feel like, you know, they want to be their own person. So those are like, that's how it can express themselves. Or you'll find those ones who want clothing brands that maybe deal with maybe they're trying to save the earth, you know, reduce pollution, because there's a visionary aspect to it, there's a humanitarian aspect to it. It's like we're trying to protect our resources. It's like it's something that's good for humankind. Yeah. So, and their style, they want a style that's very unique to the way they think, who they are. They just won't follow a trend for the sake of it. They're those ones who will follow a trend because the current social climate or what that trend represents has meaning in the way they think. That trend has meaning in their mind, or the culture that created that trend, it follows a similar ideology to them. And then those ones will be against trends because they're just like, this is superficial. I mean, everyone is doing it just for the sake. I don't want anything to do with that. I'll wear what I want to wear. So this sign, it's mainly about their ideologies, their systems of thought, which they hold on to, which have to make sense to them. That's what I would say about Aquarians. When it comes to relationships, they want a partner that's mentally stimulating, you know. And if you can't mentally stimulate her, she's easily bored. Like, she wants her mind going, because she's an air sign. So if you can provide that, and the thing is, like, and that's why some of them don't easily commit to relationships. They want a variety of experiences that are stimulating to them. They don't want just one person who they have to stick to, and if this person isn't interesting, yeah. But of course it depends on the Aquarian. Some will favor more the open, either it's open relationships or multiple partners, and others maybe will just want one person. That's dependent on them and what ideology they think about, they have about relationships. But even when it comes to bedroom pleasures, they will be really interested in trying taboo things or interesting things that are out of the ordinary, that they haven't done before. They'll want to do it in places they've never done it before, because it's mentally stimulating to them. It's newness, you know. So they like things like that. So yeah, but as the thing is, there should be a lot of experimentation in the relationship. You should be a person who can have a lot of intellectual discussion, either that or give her a lot of experiences, or not be too easy to figure out. Otherwise they'll be like, yeah, I already know them, and they're bored now. Aquarians are very strong in Uranus. They might do very extreme things things that are absolutely out of the ordinary, just to see people's reactions sometimes, because they it's like they want to, for them it's, I keep saying mental stimulation, but this is very important to them. They want to see what they react, how do people think, how will people perceive this. It doesn't mean that means that they're depending on people's reactions, but it's interesting to them. It's an experiment. They want to test out the way people will react, or what people will do. And of course others are just doing it. It's still mental stimulation when they're like, let me just try this experience and see how it is. So sometimes the things which seem shocking that they're doing, it's not even for whether they're testing how people will react. Sometimes they're testing how they will react to the experience, how they will experience it. So yeah, as long as in the end of the day it mentally stimulates them. And the other Aquarians I mentioned, the ones who like prioritizing, the Aquarians who prioritize the group. They find a group which their ideology they go with, and then they'll be thinking about their reputation. They won't just do anything. They'll think of the shocking things that they can do that are still in line with the group. These are Aquarians dominant in Saturn, because Saturn rules structure and it rules permanence. So they are trying to be in control of the permanence. They're also fixed in nature, so that's the fixed. They want something to be permanent. So they might do shocking things, but within the realms of what's acceptable by the group. And there are those ones who don't care. They just do what they want to do, however shocking it will be to the group. They don't care. They'll go find another group, or they will abandon the group altogether. Yeah, but anyway, this is an interesting sign. Other air signs generally enjoy Aquarians. Water signs might not always do well with them, because the way the erraticness of the sign, because of the Uranus aspects, where they're not too attached, they're very detached, and that can be problematic for some other signs. But if you are the ones, if you like this, like Aquarians can be really a joy to your life. If you like this kind of people, or if you like this kind of energy around you, it would be really fun to have. And of course, not all Aquarians are the same, because the other aspects of the chart. That's what I wanted to add. That's it from me for today about Aquarians. I hope you enjoyed this. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Like and subscribe if you enjoy this. Bye.